Hey everyone, thanks for coming on through to Living to Do's review of The Shy Season 7, Episode 10, called The Block is Hot. Before I get started with this review, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. So let's talk about it. This episode started where it ended last week, where Emmett had asked Keisha to marry him. So now we see Keisha leaning over Emmett in his hospital bed, and she says, "Let me think about it." His parents were in the room. Jada cleared out the room so she could talk to her son. This is where she told him while he's laying in a hospital bed that she's dying, that the cancer came back. Fast forward to 3 weeks later. Emmett is out of the hospital and he's in his home where he's talking to Keisha about marrying him. And she informed him that she's not going to marry him just because his mother is dying. We see Emmett spend more time with Jada and Darnell, and it was nice to see him dance with her, and it was sad at the same time. See, the killings on the show, I think they're just stupid. But Jada dying of cancer is real. People have those real moments. And those are the real moments that I like to see. You know, sharing difficult news with your family, it's sad, but it's real. And to see them share their final moments of happiness together, well, I prefer to see that. Darnell and Emmett, they have time alone together talking about losing Jada, and Emmett's just not ready for it yet. And he snaps on Darnell, saying that Darnell is not enough for him and he's not ready to lose his mother. And I think it was just another good moment to see how he allowed his son to say that, because that's how he truly felt, or for a moment anyway. And his mother is his mother. And I think Darnell recognized that and gave him a moment to, to say those things. And he did offer up that he's doing the best that he can. And he did say later that he kind of choked up when he said it, that he is losing the love of his life. Keisha and Jada had a private moment together too. And Keisha expressed to Jada that she's going to miss her. Jada believes in Keisha. She believes that she's one of the strongest women that she's ever known, and that she is going to be a good leader as the head of the family now. Keisha shared a time where Jada caught her and Emmett, I guess, in Emmett's room, and she didn't kick Keisha out of the house. She made her breakfast, and that was a sweet moment that Keisha has carried with her. I'm telling you, the scenes in this episode with Jada were so touching, it constantly made me cry. There was another sweet moment with Jada and Emmett, and he's pouring out his heart to her. He's not ready to let her go. Jada's always thinking about others, and what is she thinking? She pulls off her wedding ring and she gives it to Emmett for him to use to propose when he's ready. And she gives him some advice the next time that he proposed, that he shouldn't propose with fear, but with conviction. So one big thing that happened in this episode this week is that there was a block party put on by Pastor Z. I guess he's trying to get into the good graces of the people in the community. He invites his first wife to the block party, and he's asking her under the guise that it's really a good look for them in the community to do something, and it's for their daughter who was found with a gun in her drawer. Um, so he feels like she should show up and they should be united, show a united front. When we see them at the block party, they're handing out brochures together, trying to get close to her. Carolyn is her name. Now, I don't know if he's cozying up to Carolyn the way he is because he's using her, because she's a black woman and he lost all those black parishioners at his church, or if he really is calming down, settling down, maturing, and he wants that old thing back. He even asked her at the block party to get back together, and she says that she's not going to get back together with him for the sake of their grown child, who also has a child. But we see them together, they're dancing or playing games together. Later, she's back at home with her mother, and her mother's noticing them getting a little bit closer. And then she tells her mother that Pastor Z, or Z, he was dumped by his white girlfriend. Oh, that just makes Renee, her mother, very happy. Happy, happy, joy, joy. She said that things are working out the way the Lord intended. So we're at Smokey's, and Shanita. Yeah, Shanita is the manager at Smokey's, and Damien comes in. Now, this looks like it's 3 weeks later. This is the first time in 3 weeks he showed his face. Anyway, she knows all about Damien, and she fires him on the spot because nobody else had the balls to do it. Shortly thereafter, Emmett comes in and he meets Shanita for the first time because he's been laid up either in the hospital or at home with that gunshot wound. And he sees that Shanita has made several changes to his restaurant. There are no more menus. She's using QR codes because that's updating the place. I think she has new shirts made, and he's a little testy because none of this was run by him. She's doing all the right things, but I think she's going to get on people's nerves. She's too forward in her decision making. People like that sometimes need to be checked. Nook comes into Smokey's and he talks to Emmett, and and Emmett tells him that Damien has been fired. Please find him a new job, a new legal job. Nook's going to handle that. I don't know why Nook cares so much, but Nook's going to handle that. So Nook goes to Hannibal, and he told Hannibal to give Damien a job. And the way he said it, he told Hannibal. He didn't ask him. And that got under Hannibal's skin a little bit. Hannibal said, "This is your final favor." So Hannibal takes Damien to his weed spot, the building where it's all the lights and everything's going on in there. And he told Damien not to steal anything and that he's going to be working the overnight shift. So Hannibal walks away. Damien's in the weed room all by himself. And the first thing he does is he steals some shrooms from Hannibal's spot. He takes those shrooms to the block party where he gives one to Zuri, the girl he met at the Gamblers Anonymous meeting played by Karuchi Tran. Karuchi wants to know what kind they are. Damien doesn't know. But what I don't understand, they both took them, which is interesting. But you don't know what it is, girl. It could be anything. And you are out in public taking these shrooms, and I worried for them because I know how Victor and Shad tripped on them. These two took them. It seemed like they had a different experience. They were outside dancing, enjoying one another. There were bubbles everywhere. I don't know, that was just in their mind or there were really bubbles there. And they really had a good time. They look like the shrooms poster children. They make you want to take them. Never seen that stuff. Don't know what it is. I don't think I'd ever do it. Love is in the air apparently because it looks like Shad is gonna be pressing up on a new woman. And I've seen this woman's face so many times in so many different shows. So a new face, another new face added to the Shy. And this girl, her name is Nora. She has a booth at the block party. She's selling candles. Who's not selling candles? How do we have so many people selling candles? But anyway, he likes the smell of the candles. It smells like a warm hug from a family member. He asked if he can cook her dinner. She's like, "I am not going to your house." I don't blame her. At first, he thought she was bougie and wanted to go out to eat, but it was a safety thing. She gets his number, and it looks like she's going to be making more appearances on The Shy. Good for Sean, it seems like he's still out with these older women. She looks a little older for him, just a tad, not as much as Alicia. So at the block party, we see Nuck playing carnival games with pregnant Tiff. It looks like they're having a good time. And at one point, she gets a strong kick from her baby, and she goes off to the side. Nook is there, and she puts his hand on her belly where the baby is kicking. And then we see Victor oversee this. Why is she not with Victor? Later, we find out that Victor, he's talking to Shad, and he tells Shad that Tiff is mad at him because he never told her that Reg was back, and that really got under her skin. I don't know why she cared so much, other than maybe he's the man that killed Bob or Rob. Rob. Is it Rob? Yeah, Rob, her baby daddy. But it's just really interesting how she got mad. She's under the assumption that Reg killed Rob. So that's 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 a reason to be mad. But if you're not under the assumption that Reg killed Rob, then I don't see why you're mad about it. Now, she was snapping at him. They were in the lounge, and he comes out from the back, and he's humming, singing a little song. And I swear, I think this is the first time in The Shy that we hear him, Luke James's real self, a real singer, sing any song on the show. And I want to see more of that. I wish they could showcase his singing ability. I think a lot of people don't know about it, and he's an exceptional singer. I really love his voice. I loved it from the moment I heard him sing on the radio. So the cops are watching Reg as he stays at Candace's house. Now he's hanging out with her and laying all up in her lap, and he got Gangster Tran over, she's over, and Hannibal's over, and they look out the window and they see a cop car staked out the house, and he's noticed that the cop car has been there all day. Gangster Tran, I know I heard her name, but I didn't catch it. I'm gonna find it. But anyway, she's ready to head out in broad daylight and shoot whoever. He's like, not yet. No, Hannibal's over. I don't know why Hannibal's over so much over a killer's house this way. Even if they grew up as friends, you don't need to be hanging out there as much. You got a wife of your own. Anyway, he goes back and he tells Nuck, the police are staking out his house, fall back because he's noticing. Detective Toussaint, she goes to Alicia's house, and she tells Alicia she believes Bacardi knows who killed her son because his DNA was found at the scene of the crime with her son that was laid up on her steps. And that's news to Alicia. She's done so much for Bacardi. Detective Toussaint doesn't think that Bacardi killed her son, but he knows who did. Alicia believes that Nuck killed her son, and that's what she tells Detective Toussaint. And Detective Toussaint tells Alicia that Bakari is Nuck's number two man. I don't think Alicia knew that either. So later in the episode, Hannibal's still hanging out with Reg, and they're playing games. I think they're playing Connect Four is what they're playing, and they're all talking. Keith is also over there too with Gangster Tran, and this is where Hannibal hears Reg tell everybody that he's gonna hit this jewelry store and he's gonna pay Gangster Tran $50,000. Hannibal's there. He texts Nuck to let him know that he's planning a hit. Nuck texts Detective Toussaint to let her know. So the robbery's going down. They're in the jewelry store stealing stuff. As they bust out, the cops are already there. They pull up, and guns, on them, and the guys have ski masks on. Detective Toussaint comes out of her car. She walks up to the thieves and she starts pulling off They're hoodies, and not one of them is Reg. Gangster Tran is one of them, but not Reg. So how did Reg outsmart the cops? Why wasn't he there? He's pulled off these ATM hits, in broad daylight, but he wasn't there for this. Was it because the cops were watching him maybe, and he laid low and sent out the men or whoever to commit the crime? Doubt Gangster Tran is going to rat on him. So Bakari's trying to get money from his scholarship. I guess there's funds for him to access, and he cannot. So he goes to the school to inquire about it. And the lady at the school tells him that, that someone's pulled his scholarship, which surprises him. So he goes over to Alicia's house to check on why, what's up with the scholarship. And right away, she says, I know you know who killed my son. And if you don't tell me, I'm going to kill you and bury your body in my backyard. And that's how the episode ended. So, do you think Bacardi is afraid of Alicia? Will he tell her who killed her son? Will he out-knuck the guy he thinks of as a brother? So that will be coming up in the next couple of episodes. So other things that went on in this episode was Jamal and Dom are going to therapy talking about having kids, and she doesn't want them. She wants to know why he wants them. Why does anybody want kids? I think it's a natural feeling, hopefully. Not everybody's going to have it, but it's not a big deal. But what big storyline are we going to get from Jamal wanting kids? The therapist offered another way of having kids. I'm just interested in that storyline. I'm feeling for Jada. She looks tired, but is she tired because of the diagnosis she was given? So it's all mental. I want to see what's going on with her. When will these girls have these babies? They've been pregnant forever. Their stomachs are so big. I want to see what's happening there. This episode was not as good as last episode. That is it for now. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. But I gotta go because I got living to do. Bye.